What's up? This is Vollarti. So right now we're gonna just talk about some of the basics of FL Studio for someone who just got it or someone who wants to like learn how to use it. So I'm using OBS actually, which is this thing here. It's pretty cool and it is really easy for recording stuff. So I recommend this for people trying to do videos. So we're gonna start here. This is your plugin database. Like this, if you go here, this will show you like all your sounds and stuff you have. This over here shows like the plugin effects you have and stuff like that. Like I got stuff like this and stuff like that. Actually, I'm gonna do a video recommending what plugins I recommend you should get to start off with. So that's a plugin database over here, and then and I'm gonna be going back to OBS to like move it around to like so you can see everything. This right here is the snap to grid helping times. So this is line, right? And I always have it standard set to line. And up here is another one. It's the same thing. And I have that set to line. And you can change this, especially it's cool for like kicks and hi-hats or even notes if you're trying to like have a different type of feeling to the to your sound and to the pattern. This is a pencil note, and what this does is this draws. It creates like creates patterns like on this is the playlist, by the way, this thing right here. So it like creates patterns here. And the channel rack, the pencil like draws notes, right? So I think I have a hi-hat on right now, so draws notes. This right here is the paint, and this just it creates the notes, but if I scroll across with a pencil, it's only gonna do it once and it's gonna drag that. But if I use this like a magic paintbrush, it'll just create a whole bunch. So that's this thing right here. And this is the paint in a drum sequence mode. If you want to paint in a drum sequence, this is to delete something. So I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna press something, right? And I'm gonna press this, and now it's pressed. And all you do is just hover over it. You click them. You make sure you have your mouse clicked while you're hovering over it, though. Also, a shortcut for that, for deleting something, instead of always having to go up here all the time and search through stuff. If you want to delete something, you just press Command X. Make sure it's highlighted like this first before you do it. You press Command X, and it just goes away. So that's I think for Windows, it's the Windows button and X. So that's a quick little tip for that. And then to mute something, you just go here and you click over it and it's muted. And then this is the scissor tool. It'll cut notes in half or wherever you want them to be cut. It's a really useful tool. This is the selection tool. It'll literally select a group of notes, or it'll select up here the bar, so that when it's playing, it'll make sure to only let me go back to the playlist so you see it. So it'll only play these 4 bars. So and then it'll just go right back there. So that's pretty useful if you want to just work on a specific part of a song. This is zoom in, so you can zoom into notes and stuff like that. This is playback right here. And this is the playlist. This is like when you're trying to arrange the beats. Now for playlists, there's one thing that's very important. You cannot play anything on the playlist. You cannot play anything on the playlist if you have this thing on pattern up here. Now listen, right? But it's not going to play anything here, I'm telling you. It's only playing it here in the channel rack right here. And the channel rack is used for like if you can use the channel rack if you're on playlists, but when you first start off and you're only using the channel rack and the piano roll, it's not going to be playing in the playlist unless you literally put the pattern here and then you turn it on from pattern to song, and then it'll play here. Now you see it moving in the playlist. So this is the channel rack, like I said, this right here. So see, it's not playing that, but I just put it in the channel rack, but it's on song, and I don't have a pattern here. But if I click pattern here, it'll see, you see that little white thing there? That's the hi-hat I just put. And now that I put the pattern, like I said, onto the playlist and have it on song, it's gonna play here. And it's gonna be together. So just make sure you realize song, put on song when you're using playlist. So if I'm on pattern, then it's just gonna play the pattern here on the channel rack and in the piano roll for each sound. So this is right here again. This is getting to the channel rack, and also when you're hovering over something, over here to the left, it'll actually have tell you what you're hovering over. So right here it says view channel rack to the far left. So now we're gonna go to the mixer up here, and I don't really care for this video because I want to explain a lot of stuff. So I'm gonna go back to my OBS and I'm gonna make sure you can see the mixer. So this is the mixer down here, and so this is insert 1, and on my channel rack, polar hi-hats is on insert 1. These are the slots right here for the channels. So so right now I'm gonna mute clap, which is gonna be here for insert 2. So for insert 1, you're gonna see these little wave things come up, right? And then so if I put on the clap 2, where it's on insert 2, you're gonna see it right here next to it, right? So this thing right here shows the volume of the individual track, the individual insert mixer track that you have highlighted. So I have the insert track number 1 highlighted. So it's only showing the strength and how loud the hi-hats are in this case. So it's only almost -15 dB, so it's not that loud. And this one here is the clap. So if now that it's on the clap, you're gonna see only the clap strength, right? Right. And this is the mixer. This is the master. And the master shows the sounds for everything combined, and it'll show you how loud every sound is together. Right. And now, and it's also, if I take off the metronome, it's gonna be lower than that, but right. So that's this, and this. It's coming up and showing how loud it is. Now this is without the metronome. See, it's lower now because the metronome is loud. And brings it back up. By the way, a very important tip for producers: you want to leave headroom here. You don't want it to be above 0. Like, I guess -0.2 is fine, and -0.1, but you don't want it to be 0 or above, because then it'll start clipping, and it's just really bad for your mixing and mastering, and it'll sound terrible in cars, and you know, things will be distorted and start to have problems. So so insert 1 is the hi-hats. This right here is the level. Oh, by the way, if you want to solo this by itself and literally have nothing playing, you can go here and literally do that, but that's just irritating to go down the line and do that for all of these. So what I would do is I just press S, and now it's only going to play that. But you'll see it's still there, but it's just not on. And if you want to put the sounds back on, you just press S again, and now they're all back. So let me mute the clap for now. So I muted it up here. Up here, I got my claps muted. So if you look at the mixer, you'll see that when it plays, it's only going to play the hi-hats. And even though this is not turned off like before, just because on the channel rack, this green thing it's since it's muted, it's not going to be playing. So see, if I turn it back on over here, right, then it'll play. So this right here is the volume for the mixer, and this affects, you know, if you want to like have less power here and less power in the master. But what I do personally is, this is the same thing. This affects the levels of the sounds in the channel rack, and I just like level stuff out before I even get to the mixing process, because it truly helps when I'm trying to, like, you know, before the master, when I'm trying to keep it below 0 and have some more headroom, especially if you want an artist to get on it. And you know, the engineer can change stuff up if they need to, but it's just better to like level it before you even get here, because then when you start mixing it and then you add your EQs or whatever, and then you want to lower it, and then it'll already be lower before you do that. So for the hi-hats here, this thing, if you listen closely, if I move this to the left, it just means that the sound of the whatever sound you have is going to be to the left of your speakers or your headphones. So I moved it to the left, and listen to when I move it to the right. See? So left, right, center. Excuse me. So that's just how that is, and that's if you want to add, like, you know, more variety or different things to be on different sides of things. It's pretty cool. This is reverse polarity. This is swap left and right channels. This is if you have effects, you could enable the effect or you can disable the effect. This is track latency. This is the arm disc recording. And this is just insert 1, showing that it's connected to the master. If I go right here, you'll see that this thing is still connected. That's why I said that the master plays the sound of all of the insert sounds of each individual sound together, because it's connected with this thing. So what's also cool is if I go back up here and you right click this, you can rename it. I'm gonna call it kicks, and this is good when you're mixing and stuff, so that when you export it, if you want to export tracks individually, that it'll export them with this name already, so you don't have to go in and type everything out. Right click this, you can rename it. You can actually change the color too in the icon. I'm gonna change the color to midnight blue. You press accept, and you can actually change the color of this, moving it around. So I'm gonna just move stuff around so you see it. You can change like the red, you can change the green, you can change all this stuff, and it'll add a different type of feeling to it. But I'm gonna actually I'm going to go back to the midnight blue, and it's more of a purple, but whatever. So yeah, so you can do that. So that's pretty cool too. It's like a really fresh look if you want to have different colors, like, and it's good for organization. I'll get to that when I talk about the playlists and stuff over here. This is an enable send from kicks to insert 2. So like this will like connect stuff. So I made it smaller so you can see this side of it too. So now I'm gonna put, this is the FX slot, which is your effects and all that stuff. So say if I want to put, let me see, maybe R bass. I don't know, I'm just gonna pick something. R bass is like a booster for your kicks and like 808s and stuff like that. So this is R bass right here. So I put R bass on kicks. So because I have insert 1 highlighted, it's only on kicks insert 1. It's not on insert 2. As you see, there's nothing here. It's only on that because you have that highlighted. If you went to the master and then you put R bass, that means that everything will have R bass now. Everything will be connected. It won't come up here and say that everyone has it, but just because the master, remember, down here is connected to each and every one, it's going to have, all of them will have this R bass plugin. So now what I wanted to show you, if you want to add this, if you want to add the same plugin to another mixer track, like say if you have something like a reverb and you like it and you have like 2 snares or something, like if you wanted to move it, all you do is right click this, you go to file, and then you press save mixer track as. You hold this down, do not just click it, hold it down. hold it down, and then you just drag it to the insert mixer track that you want. So I'm gonna put it at 2. So now if you look at 2 and look over here, it has the same copied effect that you had for insert 1. So it just moves the same thing over here. So that's a cool tip if you wanna do that. Here's the effect slots. This thing right here is like, say if you have a mic in, which I do, it's in my input 1 slot in my interface. So I would pick input 1, but because I'm using OBS, I don't have to put it there. But if you press that, then it'll actually make the track that's selected. It'll say record, and then you can actually like record if you're rapping or something like that, or if you're recording something. But since I have OBS, I don't even need to press that. So that's pretty cool. This right here is the mix level, and this is pretty cool. You can adjust this if you want. It's good for automation clips too. I'll get more into that in another tutorial. This just mutes it, just like these do over here for the channel rack and down here for the mixer. So this, if you just get rid of it, it'll take it off. And down here is showing like the hertz and everything. This is the EQ bands. This is track latency if you want. This just maximizes over here. It just maximizes your mixer. So you just press that back, press it again if you want it to go back to normal. This just minimizes it, and you press it again if you want to go back. This clicks out of it, but it's not like you lost everything. You just go back to the mixer, and then there it is. So the piano roll is pretty cool, right? So I'm gonna put the clap on and take off the hi-hat, right? Right. And then if you go down here, you're at velocity. So this is like the strength and how loud the volume is itself. So there's tons of different things you could do with the levels from the channel volume and all that stuff, but velocity itself is pretty cool. So watch this. You hear how this one's louder than this one, and then I can make this one louder than that one, right? So that's pretty cool. That's velocity. If you want to change that, go right here to control. It's to the left of it, and you click it, and you can go to note pans. You can go to note release. You can go to note filter cutoff frequency. You can go to note filter resonance. You can go to note find pitch. It's pretty cool. And the channel rack, if you want to add another sound, all you do is just go here, press the add button, and then you could just click a new one. So I'm going to open up Nexus, right? And then now you just have another one. There's all these things up here too. There's help. You can ask questions. You can save. This is the enable note. This is typing keyboard, which means that I can actually type and play stuff. So like I'm hitting B on my Mac keyboard, and it's actually playing the note. So, and as I'm lowering, if I'm playing different letters, hitting different letters, it's going down. So that's all it means. And this is metronome up here. This is wait for input to start playing. This is scroll to reach time markers. This is stop editing mode. This is blend recording. This is loop recording. And that's multi-link to controllers. And that's the main snap for everything. This also shows you, it's the peak meter. Shows if you're like peaking or not. This is the monitor master too also. This is the CPU load, like how much CPU it's using. This is the memory usage. Yeah, so file, this opens like a new one. If I want to open up a new file, I don't really care to save this, so it'll just open up a new one. If I want to open up a template, I can open up a template here. Like if I want a basic 808, like I don't put limiters on my track to start with. I mean, just me personally. But if I wanted to say basic with the limiter on the master, I can click that, and now If I go back to here, the master, you'll see that there's a fruity limiter on it. This is save as, save new version. This is import. You can import some files. You can export. This is pretty cool because when you're done, if you want to export it to your computer and as a WAV file or as a WAV file or as an MP3 file, you could do that. Track 1, you can do the same thing. You can rename this and name it kicks, drums, or whatever. And then you can change the color, change to slate blue, and then now look. So that's pretty dope because you can just make your stuff look awesome. You can add so much variety and just make it just look cooler. Like you can, and it also helps with organization because if you have drum patterns, right, your drums could be the kicks, the snares, the rims, the claps, the hi-hats, the open hats, the cymbals, whatever. And you can label all of them blue so that you know, oh, these are the drum patterns. If you want to have a melody, then you can label it maybe red or something, or like purple, or just whatever you want, or just keep it like this, and that'll differentiate. And even naming them too will help, and you'll be like, oh, okay, now I know that's not the drums, those are the melodies, or whatever else it is. Now this thing right here, these 3 knobs here, you can, if you click it, you can slide up and down, and you could just make stuff smaller if you want. This right here, see, that just got rid of the playlist, but all I have to do is click this. Actually, no, I can't click that because I did that. So what I do is I go over here and I just press the square and it'll put it back for me. If I do this, it'll obviously close it, but I just press that and it'll open it back. You can minimize it or do that again. You can make it, so like over here, this thing collapses the structure right here. So see, I collapsed that. You can refresh the browser if something is happening. Say if you can't find an effect or plugin, you can go here. You can go to generator, your VST plugins, and you can people don't really go deep into detail to explain stuff to me like this, like in the tutorials I see, and I just want to provide that for you because I know a lot of people don't do that. Right here are the patterns up here. If you want to add a new pattern, all you do is just press this plus button, and you just press OK, right? So now I'm going to click here because I created a pattern. So that's pattern 1. Now I can add pattern 2. And if you look right here, pattern 2 is right here. And then you could just move this here. You can either do that, or because you're on pattern 2, you got to make sure you're on pattern 2 up here. And then you just click here. Because say if you were on pattern, if you wanted to put pattern 2 on there, and you're still on pattern 1, it's just going to put the same pattern above down there. And so if you notice, I'm going to click pattern 2 and pattern 2 shows up. But if I go back to pattern 1, pattern 2 is going to disappear because there's no sound there. So I'm glad you made it, and till next time.